you would at home, except on the back of it is attached a vacuum. So that way, as you clip the hair, it gets sucked into a vacuum. And the other day, actually, my good friend Laurel was cutting her hair, and so I held the vacuum for her while she was trimming her hair. Over. I like to say you need to be a jack of all trades, so you need to be able to do a little bit of everything. Science is our main mission up here, so you have to have the technical expertise and ability to perform the science experiments. You need to be physically fit so that things like spacewalks are really physically tiring. And then also, probably the most important thing is you need to be a good team player. We live up here in this pretty small volume with our crew, and we can't just go outside if we get mad at each other. So working together with other people is really important. Over. Well, you know, it's hard to have fresh food on the International Space Station. Every now and then when a cargo comes up, they'll send us some fresh fruits or something like that, but we have to eat it pretty quickly. So we use food that stays stable, shelf stable for very long periods of time. Over. It took a while to get used to moving around in zero gravity just because it's so different, but it's actually quite easy and fun. You know, it takes very little effort. You can just give a slight push and you'll go all the way across the module, but you have to be careful not to push too hard or you keep it going. I think that would probably be different depending on who you ask. For me, it's just every day trying to make sure I'm doing the mission, and I have a spacewalk, my first spacewalk ever coming up, and I'd say I'm a little nervous about that and making sure I do everything properly being outside the space station for the first time. Over. Well, NASA didn't ask me if I wanted to bring a pet. That's a good question, but there have been animals in space throughout time. There have been monkeys in space. There have been dogs in space. So I think at some point you could. Right now, it would probably depend what animal it is, and you might have to make some adjustments to the space station to accommodate. Over. You know, the spacesuit is actually quite difficult to work in. So it looks really easy when you're watching an astronaut working in their spacesuit, but really every time they move their hands or grip something with their hands, they're fighting against the pressure of the suit that's there to keep them alive. And so it took a lot of getting used to, and also you can only move where the bearings are for the suit, where the joints are. So learning how to move and work in the suit was actually quite difficult. Thanks for the question. Over. I wanted to be an astronaut since I was in elementary school, so probably about your age. I read a book about Valentina Tereshkova, the first woman in space, and I think I always just was really excited by the thought of exploration and exploring new places we've never been. Over. Well, that one also would depend who you ask. One of my favorites is probably having a beef patty with a wheat thin bread. It's kind of like having a hamburger back home. And then probably one of my least favorites up here is pickled beets. Over. Probably what I spend the most time doing in my free time is looking out the cupola windows and taking photos, but also hanging out with my crewmates over dinner or something else. There's a guitar up here, so I've started trying to play that a bit as well. Over.